Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 2nd, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday. Happy Garfield Day to you. Hopefully, you had a good Monday, whether you're back at work for the top of the week, whether it's just another day for you. Hopefully, you got that lasagna, however you slicing it. Hopefully, you even got some seconds while we're at it. For me, I'd say I got my two. I got my two helpings. Today was solid. We went to work. It wasn't too crazy, wasn't busy. So we like a Monday like that. Nice, slow but steady pace. You know what I mean? We can clock in, we can clock out to that. After work, we went to the gym. Gym was very busy, but I was resourceful. Instead of being able to get in my time on the Smith machine, I just kind of, I almost want to say doubled down on like the free weights. Just kind of did more or less like some comparable exercises there. All things said and done, I got out a little bit earlier, so that was nice. And not to mention, it's a maintenance day, so I'm not really trying to go as hard as possible. I'm just trying to kind of, hit the marks, do the steps. So that was good. And now we're home. We're here. Let's see. I actually do have a food corner to report from last night. When I went to the store the other day, I got a tomato and I got an avocado. And I said, all right, we're going to mix it up. We're going to do it a little different for the chicken and rice. So essentially, all the same accoutrement for the chicken and rice bowl. We got some lettuce. We got some carrots in there too. Also, it's Sunday, so it's like, yeah, we got some kimchi. But I added the kimchi to the guacamole or to the avocado, to the tomato, and just kind of mixed it all up. Kind of just made a little, I don't know what you would call it. But this mixture, just kind of put that in the rice bowl, chicken and rice bowl, and it all came together really nice. So that was an enjoyable meal. Also added a little bit of cheese to it, and then I had like a bowl of chips. So that was nice. I kind of piggied out a little bit. And also, I will say, a snack I've been enjoying lately, Rice Krispie treats. I don't know why. I feel like it's like low calorie enough to make me not feel as bad for like eating it, but it's still junk food, so I still get that kind of itch scratched. So that's been kind of nice. So I had that the other day. So yeah, that's a little bit of food corner, a little snack, and a little food for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into our startup and let's get into some news. I have a stacked plate for the day. All right. Now, our first story is coming from the Charlotte Observer. I was supposed to cover this story yesterday, but somehow I made a mistake and I just like breezed over it in the midst of talking and then didn't realize it until after the episode. So I was like, gotta cover it today. Um, 80 shots fired during mass shooting at party house outside. I'm sorry, let me just run that back. 80 shots fired during mass shooting at party outside Hickory, killing one, injuring 11. Authorities are investigating a mass shooting that happened Sunday morning during a house party near Hickory, where more than 80 shots were fired, killing one person and injuring 11. Officers responded to reported gunshots about 12:45 a.m. Sunday at a party at a house on Walnut Acres Drive in southwest I cannot pronounce this. Catawba County, county's Mountain View community. The Catawba County Sheriff's Office said. Police identified the deceased as 58-year-old Sean Patrick Hood of Lenore. Officials have not released the names of the others, but the youngest person injured was 16 years old. One critically wounded person was transported to Charlotte Hospital, while others were taken to local medical facilities. Catawba County Sheriff's Major Aaron Turk told reporters at a press conference Sunday morning. Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown called the shooting a senseless act of violence. The sheriff's office said some of the 11 injured were shot and others were hurt fleeing. The FBI on Monday announced a $15,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and successful prosecution of whoever did it. Authorities first responded to the Walnut Acres neighborhood, a subdivision about 55 miles northwest of Charlotte, at about 11 p.m. Saturday for a noise complaint over loud music. Police left the scene after the music was turned down, but law enforcement were called back to the scene, this time due to reported gunshots, less than 2 hours later. The scope of the violence quickly became apparent, law enforcement audio shows. The first dispatch call at about 12:40 a.m. reported at least one person shot, possibly more. Minutes later, someone requests more emergency medical personnel. The number of people with gunshot wounds jumps to at least 4, and someone reports people fleeing the scene on foot. We need some more officers out here, someone says about 12 minutes after the initial dispatch. Responding agencies included the County Sheriff's Office, Hickory Police, North Carolina Highway Patrol, State Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Skipping ahead here. Turk told reporters multiple weapons were used but didn't provide details. Law enforcement said they haven't been able to determine a motive for the violence or found a direct tie between the shooting and the earlier noise complaint. Authorities interviewed about 70 people Sunday and are looking for more witnesses to talk to. They're saying that there was about, I think, 100 people at the party. A lot of teenagers, a lot of people in their early 20s. But that being said, they don't have any details or anything like that in terms of revealing who they think is a shooter or anything like that. Let's see here. The rest of it is kind of condolences and responses from leaders of the community. So we're going to go ahead and skip past that. But definitely a story I wanted to cover. I know that there's a lot going on. We're actually going to do, the next story is a recap from a story we talked about yesterday. A little bit more details from that. There's a lot going on, right? But I did want to get this story in and talk about it. And if I do get any more details, we will come back to it. But from ABC News, Boulder attack suspect charged with federal hate crime said he wanted to kill all Zionist people, court documents. The man suspected of throwing Molotov cocktails in an act of terrorism during a pro-Israel demonstration in Boulder, Colorado, injuring 12 people, has been charged with a federal hate crime and state charges, including 16 counts of attempted first-degree murder, according to court documents. The suspect, 45-year-old Mohammed Salman, told investigators he researched on YouTube how to make Molotov cocktails, purchased ingredients to do so, and constructed them. Salman took a concealed carry class to learn how to fire a gun, but had to use Molotov cocktails for the attack after he was denied the purchase of a gun due to him not being a legal citizen. It's worth noting in this article, too, I think he has been in the U.S. illegally since 2023. Solomon, who allegedly disguised himself as a gardener during the attack, allegedly told police he wanted to kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead, documents said. Solomon stated he would do it, conduct the attack again. He said this had nothing to do with the Jewish community and was specific to the Zionist group supporting the killings of people on his land, Palestine, the state document said. It is worth noting that these people, I believe, were part of a demonstration group called Run for Your Lives or something like that, where essentially they were doing all their actions in regards to getting hostages back home from Gaza. So they want the immediate release of hostages. But yeah, I guess Solomon kind of saw this, kept seeing it and was like, I'm gonna do this. This is how I'm gonna, you know, stop Zionism, combat Zionism, I guess. Solomon, a husband and father of 5, allegedly said he had been planning Sunday afternoon's attack for 1 year, but waited until his daughter graduated from high school last Thursday to carry it out, state and federal documents said. He said no one knew about his plans and he expected to die during the attack, the document said. It's really fucking sad, man, because it's like, dude, you're throwing your life away, and you're throwing your life away for what? Like, this is not doing anything. It's not changing anything. Like, it does make me think about the conversation we had about the Washington, D.C. Killing of those 2 embassy people from, the Israeli embassy people. It's like, okay, you want to help Gaza, you want to support Gaza, or maybe in this situation, you're just so appalled or upset by what you see out of Israel and what you see from the ravages of Zionism. Okay, but taking matters into your own hands and trying to hurt other people, inflict harm on other people, in some and other situations take other people's like whole ass fucking lives, which is what he was trying to do here. Like, that's not doing anything. It's not progressing anything, and it's taking you away from your family. Like, do you think your daughter is gonna want to? It's just so fucking sad. It sucks because there's nothing gained out of this at all. He acknowledged that he had received and understood a protection order barring him from contacting the victims. This is just from the jail hearing. His bond is also at $10 million. He's due back in court on Thursday for the filing of state charges. Solomon allegedly filled 8 glass containers he purchased from Target with gas. He put them in a black storage bin, and in order to get as close as possible to the group, he dressed himself like a gardener. He allegedly used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into a crowd of pro-Israel demonstrators at a pedestrian mall, according to the FBI. He allegedly yelled "Free Palestine" during the attack, said the FBI. A video posted on social media during the attack showed Solomon holding what appeared to be Molotov cocktails saying, "How many children?" and "End Zionist," according to court documents. Solomon said he only threw 2 at the group because he got scared, according to court documents. Solomon allegedly targeted the Run for Your Lives walk, which aims to raise awareness about the remaining hostages held by Hamas in Gaza and calls for their immediate release. Solomon allegedly told investigators he specifically targeted this group after learning about them in an online search, according to court documents. 8 people ranging in age from 52 to 88 were hospitalized Sunday with burns, and 2 of those victims remained in the hospital on Monday. 4 other people who were injured suffered minor injuries have since come forward, bringing the victim total to 12, officials said Monday. 16 unused Molotov cocktails were within arm's reach of the suspect when he was arrested. FBI Denver special agent in charge, Mark Machalik, we're going to say Machalik, I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, said at a news conference, and he commended the first responders who jumped in to stop the attack. There's more details here, but, obviously this is a story we did talk about yesterday. I just wanted to kind of shed some light, and I guess, talk a little bit about my opinion on it, now that we have more details about it. So yeah, there we are. We can never know what the future holds. If there's going to be more like this, sadly, one can only assume the times that we live in that, because it could happen from one side or the other, as we've seen and covered on the pod. So, I really do hope that we are going to be moving towards times that are not as chaotic and crazy, but, it kind of is what it is. Just kind of looking around and taking in the scenery. I don't know. I'm kind of just digesting this myself out loud. It fucking, it's hard. It sucks. And the next story that I have is, it's not better. It's not better, y'all. Anyway, from CNN, stabbing attack at Oregon homeless shelter sends 11 people to the hospital. Man in custody. A dozen people were injured in a stabbing attack at an Oregon homeless shelter on Sunday night, and a suspect was arrested, police said. A man with an 8-inch or 20-centimeter knife walked into the lobby of the Union Gospel Mission in Salem around 7:15 p.m. The Salem Police Department said on Monday. The man had been talking to people in the lobby when he allegedly pulled out a knife and stabbed several people, according to the police. Excuse me. Other people in the vicinity were hurt when they tried to intervene, police said. The man then left the building and stabbed others who were nearby, sitting outside. Police arrested a suspect identified as Tony Williams, 42, across the street from the shelter. 11 victims, including 2 shelter staff members, were taken to a hospital for treatment, and the 12th was identified as officers interviewed witnesses. Police said victims suffered varying types of injuries. All of the injured were men between the ages of 26 and 57. 5 people remain hospitalized Monday with serious injuries. Police haven't specified a motive for the stabbings, but said it didn't seem targeted at people who are homeless. I mean, it's just so upsetting that it's just like, okay, someone just snaps or just has this knife, and it was I don't know. Obviously, this is new news, and I don't have any details or understanding on what's going to motivate a person to do this shit. If I do hear more, then definitely. But I mean, obviously, you're in the shelter. Either you're working or you're trying to survive, do your thing, and then the next thing you know, there's this happening, and you're just sitting outside, and then you're a potential target. It's wild, man. And I don't know. Once again, I'm at a loss for words. I don't have anything to really add. But I am glad that at least as of right now, no one's lost their life. So that's good. You gotta take that silver lining out of the playbook and just kind of run with that, right? I don't know. But let's move on to the next story. This is another one that's not a good one. It's sad. We got our condolences. We gotta do some solidarity. Actually, I'm gonna take a little mid. This is salutations for Jonathan Joss. So we're gonna pay our respects right here, right now. Actually, a little bit. Now, Jonathan Joss, if you're not familiar, was John Redcorn of King of the Hill, which is going to be making a comeback in August. So that is a little bit of side news there. I'm going to take a little water. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, what the fuck? Now, apparently he wasn't going to be John Redcorn for this reinstallment, the newest season coming out. So I was kind of like, damn, that's a bummer. But I didn't know that he was a replacement for another person who had died in a car accident, who was John Redcorn previously, I think up to the first season or 2. Sorry, I'm kind of riffing before we even get into it. Ugh. All right, from Yahoo News. King of the Hill voice actor Jonathan Joss killed in San Antonio shooting, police say. Jonathan Joss, the voice actor known for his character John Redcorn on King of the Hill, was killed in a shooting in San Antonio on Sunday, police said. The suspect, Sigfrido Alvarez Sija, 56, was taken into custody and faces murder charges, the San Antonio Police Department said, according to the San Antonio Express News. Officers responded to a call about a shooting around 7 p.m. on Sunday. Police found Joss, 59, who had been shot near the roadway and attempted life-saving measures until EMS arrived and pronounced him dead. Sija, who was Josh's neighbor, initially fled the scene but was caught by police 1 block away. The investigation into what happened and Sija's motive remains ongoing. Joss was best known for his role as John Redcorn in King of the Hill, which aired from 1997 until 2009. He took over for the original Redcorn voice actor Victor Aaron in the show's second season after Aaron died in the car accident. Josh also played the recurring role of Chief Ken Hote, or Hotate, I cannot remember, in NBC's Park and Recreation, and appeared on screen in Ray Donovan, True Grit, and The Magnificent Seven. King of the Hill was revived for its 14th season, which will premiere on Hulu in August. Josh was not invited to partake in the revival, but he did attend the King of the Hill cast panel at 7 p.m. local time at Austin's ATX TV Festival on Friday, roughly 48 hours before he was found shot in San Antonio. Josh lost 2 dogs and his San Antonio childhood home in a fire in January. That's obviously very unfortunate. So, definitely kind of just rained and wound up pouring. And, sadly, he is no longer with us. So, I wanted to kind of, give my condolences, talk about the story. And of course, me being a vapid asshole, make it a little bit about myself, be, anecdotal, whatever. I actually used to have a John Redcorn tattoo. I did. It was on my ass, and I got it because it was just this dumb meme challenge on Facebook where it's like if I got like 500 likes or I think it was comments, then I would get one of the tattoo flashes or whatever. And by the time that wound up happening, we were in like the midst of COVID. So I like hit up my apprentice friend and I said, hey man, I want to get John Redcorn, but I want it to be like kind of funny. And I know this is an apprentice, so like I know it's not going to be the greatest tattoo. Of course, that's fine. I've got a few apprentice tattoos and I have no problem with them. I love them. I love them for what they are. So next thing I know, I'm on this guy's couch. He's trying to tattoo me. And it just didn't go well. It was a real bad look, but it was John Redcorn, no shirt. I think he was like holding like a thing of flowers and a heart. It was very cute. It was very funny. And it had a certain kind of charm to it, but it was very terrible. Like his hand looked like a wrench claw. When I went to the person to find like another person to cover it up, because this dude wound up being in the wind. He didn't finish the mission, so to speak. Let's say that. So, I go to a new person and, I say, hey man, can we just do a cover up? And they're like, yeah, we can do a cover up. It's just going to be a big black heart, but we can do a cover up. So I finally, lay down. And they finally see it for the first time. They're dying. They're laughing. They are they're busting guts over this. It's so funny. First thing they say to me, they're like, "Dog, that's not John Redcorn. That's Susan Sarandon." And I was like, "Don't besmirch Susan and don't besmirch John Redcorn like that. Okay? Don't do that. That's fucked up." So, we got it covered up, and I will say, despite that, it is not a regret. That is my only tattoo I've covered up so far. Knock on wood, that's the only one I do cover up. Because it is what it is. It's a story. It's a moment. And, sometimes you get to tell that moment to your friends. And sometimes you get to tell it to an audience of whoever winds up coming to listen to this episode. So, there you go. Now you know a little bit about me. And a little bit more about... I'm sorry, I know it's fucked up. I keep wanting to say John Redcorn, but it is Jonathan Joss. Gotta put some respect on his name. Rest in peace, rest in power. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. It's a bit lighter, but with a bit of a sting from USA Today. Beekeepers swarm to rescue millions of escaped bees after truck crash. Beekeepers swarmed to the rescue this weekend, saving millions of honeybees after a semi-truck carrying their hives crashed. The truck was hauling 70,000 pounds of beehives when it overturned in a rural county in northern Washington state, letting loose about 14 million bees, according to the Whatcom County Sheriff's Office. Bees! Sheriff's deputies responded to the pre-dawn crash on Friday, May 30th. So did master beekeepers, 24 of them, according to the sheriff's office. Beekeepers began the careful work of rebuilding about 300 beehives. Said Derek Condit. We're gonna say Condit, one of the beekeepers who responded to the scene. Today I had the incredible privilege of helping to rescue millions of honeybees, he said in a Facebook post with the video, showing workers in protective white suits with hoods, their backs slathered in bees as millions of them search for their queen. It's crazy to kind of like hear how this shit went down, like how massive it was, since like, we had this overturned truck. It's filled with like very angry bees. They're very upset. They just want to like get back to their queen, get back to business, and this is not happening right now. So they are like in attack mode. One person said that when they went to take off their gear, their boots were like filled with stingers. Like that's how like chaotic the scene was. She's like, yeah, I definitely got bit. It was not necessarily fun, but we were really doing the best we could. And I think that they said by the time they were able to like get like the forklifts and like get things back into the truck and like get it moving, the bees would just like follow the truck, that any of the bees that were just like remaining, because naturally they wanted to find their queen, stay with their queen, and they had to just kind of go about. But needless to say, this sounds like yet again another Final Destination ass fucking scenario. So I'm glad no one was really hurt or really fucked up, at least from my knowledge as of recording this. So that's good. Glad that people were able to get on the scene and really just get to the work. Obviously, we got to protect the bees. They're important. They're important to our whole fabric of the ecosystem and all that. And with like I don't know, global warming, all the crazy shit going on. Extinction is a thing that could happen to the bees. Maybe that's something I kind of take for granted. Because sadly, I'm definitely one of those people who gets freaked out by bees. I get freaked out by bugs. And bees can fly and they can sting you. So I'm always like, and I've been stung before. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And I think it's one of those things where I can have that reaction of like, bee. And you try to get it out. You try to shoo it away. You try to fucking hit it. You know what I mean? Where, they're trying to live just like everybody else. And I try to respect that. And I'm rooting for the bee. I'm hoping that they can make it happen so they can pollinate all the little flowers and whatnot. All that good shit. So, hopefully they get to their destination and not the final destination. You know what I'm saying? And, we can keep on floating along. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our last story, which means we're going to take our closing last break. So, yeah, before four things pop off. Anyway, let's go ahead and do that, and we'll close it out. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. Ooh. Okay. From the Independent. Mount Etna eruption live. Huge volcanic blast in Italy sends tourists fleeing. Mount Etna has erupted in Sicily, spewing a huge column of gas and ash into the sky above the Italian island. Footage shared on social media showed people running for their lives down the mountainside of Europe's largest and most active volcano, as a thick column of smoke intensified above them. Italy's National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology said in a widely reported statement that the volcano was experiencing strong. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I had to burp, and then also this word is kind of going to make me laugh. Was experiencing strong strombolian. It's strombolian. It's strombolianing explosions. Is that why we call them strombolis? Because they look like that, just with pizza sauce? Strombolian? Strombolian. Y'all, I'm sorry. What? I reading this out loud kind of stunlocked me. A type of eruption. It's strombolian explosions are a type of eruption. Grow up. Grow up. Okay? Sorry. Of growing intensity. Over the past few hours, the falling of a little thin ash has been flagged in the Piano Vittori area, the statement said. They have since announced that the eruption is over. So yeah, I mean, more details. I haven't heard of anyone being hurt or injured, no loss of life. So knock on wood that this is just come and gone. We had our great big stromboli and we're good to go. It's time for dinner now. I don't know. Hopefully, right? But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for today. I feel like we had to, cover a little bit extra. I made a mistake, a little oops-a-daisy. So, all's well that ends well. No, maybe not all the time, maybe not every story, but hey, a little bit of news here and there. Hopefully, sometimes it's good, right? That's the aim, that's the goal, and we just get through the bad. Anyway, If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're listening on. Just go ahead and hit that button and just keep up with the Joneses. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing's caring. It can be fun. But no matter what, I just appreciate you just tuning in to hear me blah, 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 blah. But whatever. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. Mostly news, of course. And, my daily pangs. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.